This is Headspace.
Welcome everybody to Headspace by My Mama Done Told Me. This is a segment of our podcast where we get together with people with experience or expertise in certain fields, and we tap into their mindset, why they do what they do, and kind of what keeps them going and all that fun stuff. Today, I'm joined, of course, by my sister, Lauren. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Hey. Hello. As always, Mama. I'm
Not as always.
Not as always. Sometimes.
Not as always. Welcome back. Welcome back to the frigid north, Mother.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Brought a little warm weather for you today, though.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Today, we are excited to introduce someone whose expertise in fitness and nutrition is helping people transform their lives. Elicia Briggs. Welcome, Elicia.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you for being with us. Elicia.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Elicia is a certified fitness nutritionist. She currently works at Nutrition Pros by Todd Smith in Omaha, Nebraska. Former natural pro bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
What's that mean?
Drug-free.
Oh,
No juice.
I thought they were.
I wasn't on
that's
the
good.
juice. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
good for you.
that's really cool.
That is cool.
Holds a bachelor's in sports medicine from the University of Nebraska at Omaha and a master's of education from Iowa State University. Years of experience and a deep passion for helping others. Here to share her knowledge with us and get a little bit of insight as to why you do what you do, how you do it, and what
Sure.
keeps you going.
Yeah.
So thanks again for being on Headspace.
I'm excited to be here.
Thanks. We're
Pretty
excited
cool.
to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start by talking a little bit about what got you into this field. Your father had a hand in getting you started. Is that correct?
I mean, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, my dad was, he did a little bit of bodybuilding, did a little bit of powerlifting, played a couple sports in college. We were always active when we were kids, and so sports was just kind of second nature. And I went to college and went to grad school. I played softball a little bit in my undergrad, so I should say that. But
Yeah.
grad school, I decided that I just wasn't busy enough, so why not try bodybuilding?
Because that's a busy
That's
sport.
it's your life. I mean, you have to live it, you have to breathe it, you know. But as far as getting me into the profession of nutrition and fitness, I saw what it did for me. I mean, it made me realize that I actually had a lot of control over my body, and that was really cool. I could, gain weight, lose weight, do all the things, and I, would get to a point close to competition where my confidence would just skyrocket, and just to look and see what I did over time, and it was cool. It was a nice challenge. Yeah,
I feel like that is probably one of the more frustrating parts of nutrition and fitness and all that is the lack of, or at least the feeling of the lack of control
100%.
in what your body does.
Yeah.
I can want so bad, and I can try so hard, and I can do all these things. I can try to eat right, but if I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know some of the science behind it. And
It's
you could
the
probably
questioning behind, people.
Yeah.
I say that I do my job to give people permission,
Oh, yeah.
right? People just need permission that what they were wanting to do or what they thought was appropriate for their bodies, they're kind of there. They're along
Sure.
the right path. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I
Sometimes.
keep lifting
But-
the donut to my mouth.
Sure.
I should be
But
getting
you know
strong.
what's funny is how it's changed over time. And
Yeah.
I think there's, I'm sure we'll talk about this, through the podcast, but it's the misconceptions behind nutrition and what we've learned over decades or what was popular over decades. It's so
Fads and things like that,
confusing for people. And my goal is just to make it not so confusing.
I think that's hugely
Yeah.
powerful.
Yes.
And I think that would, if more people had access to that and or knew where to find that,
Yeah.
We have unlimited access to this information right now.
At the tip of our finger, too. It's-
What's correct? What's going to work? What's not going to work? Is this guy showing me his, shredded body who's saying, I don't even go to the gym, and all I do is, the two things, but you got to listen to this whole thing before.
And get behind a paywall.
And by the way, purchase my supplements.
Everything's-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a miracle. Too. You don't
It's
have
a
to do anything
miracle.
but the solution.
And it only took me 6 weeks too. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the key. Is
That's
it's like
good. That's
people that I can get you there in 6 weeks. And it's,
Oh, yeah,
no,
yeah.
let's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. No,
Let's not buy into that.
No. So you mentioned you played softball, a little bit of soccer, I read.
In high school, yeah,
Okay.
and through my younger years.
Yeah. And then competitive bodybuilding. How long did you do that?
More than a handful of years.
Okay.
Longer than I probably should have.
Can I throw up pictures right here of you as a bodybuilder?
I don't know if I have any.
No way.
You know what's interesting? So
I feel like every bodybuilder has pictures.
I do. Okay.
Well, if you want them on the internet,
But
send
let
them
me
to
tell you, I share my story about bodybuilding to anyone that asks because what started as this journey of, bodybuilding is great. It's such a challenge. It's this, that. It became toxic. And so after a pro card, after years of gaining and losing, and then I started coaching other women, it became my mindset, I wasn't good enough. And anybody who's ever been on a stage when they're bodybuilding, when you're that lean, you're never going to look at yourself like you're in shape ever again. Right. But a bodybuilder who's on stage is malnourished, overexercised, like they are the sickest, but like ripped and shredded.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, ask any of them and they're probably thinking about food in such a toxic way.
Yeah.
Right. And so I remember the day that I quit bodybuilding, and it was probably one of the best days that
What did you eat?
that day.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Gosh. I remember it was after I actually had 2 pro cards in a natural federation that doesn't even exist anymore. It was broken up and kind of went its separate ways. And so it's funny because the day that I quit, I sat and I looked at my husband and I said, gosh, I don't think my mind is where it needs to be and I need to stop. And I immediately went into the kitchen, toasted 2 pieces of bread and put more almond butter between those 2 pieces of bread than I think anyone should realistically
I'm gonna put
have.
more fat onto
The
this
weirdest
than I can.
thing I could possibly have, right? But I mean, he was into fitness too. I mean, he's always been into fitness, but he was bodybuilding at the time too. So it's like we didn't have much in the house.
Yeah.
Right?
Going through your cabinets
Almond butter and and
Right.
toast.
And I would have put a
essentially what I
little
had.
banana on it. It would have been
I don't know if we
perfect.
had bananas, but I would have. That sounds lovely.
It does.
Okay, so let's shift a little bit to nutrition as your career. You said that food is the foundation of health.
Absolutely.
Would you stand by those words?
Absolutely. Yay.
Which leads me to what you were just saying. You had developed at one point almost a bad relationship with food because of how malnourished you were feeling or how you were when you were bodybuilding. What led you to focus on nutrition as opposed to any other aspect of health? Because that's your focus, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nutrition as opposed to the exercise side of things and all that.
Well, Todd would call me the personal trainer for the other 24 hours in a day.
Okay.
Right. So anybody can come in and get the workout piece. You can hire a personal trainer. You can take a class. You can do all those things, but it's 1 hour out of your day, maybe 3 hours out of your week. But you have to eat multiple times in a day. Right. And so I truly believe that nutrition is the driver of health and wellness. And your exercise can be the roadmap piece, right? So it really doesn't matter what you're doing for exercise and activity. If you have goals, if you want to gain strength, if you want to gain muscle, if you want to lose fat, your nutrition has to be in place. And this is the part that nobody does well.
Right.
Can I? So the way we eat has to drive you crazy. I mean, because it drives me crazy to watch the normal
hard.
diet of what our society has kind of gotten to, with not only with the portions that we eat, like from when you go to a restaurant, you really get enough food for 3 meals.
You do.
Yeah. And the processed food stuff and the chemicals that go into it and all the stuff,
Food at your door. Oh, yeah.
that you're putting into your body.
Yeah.
Even if you stay within your calorie intake, you're putting.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because this is a game. It's calories in versus calories out, right? It's been proven over decades. Scientists have proven if you put yourself in a caloric deficit, you should have fat loss, right?
Right.
So when you're looking around in public and you're seeing people who, might be overweight, obese and beyond, or just in poor health in general, you get to start to thinking, and then we also have started to push the idea that a lack of exercise and a lack of movement is kind of like the new default
Right.
in
The new
health and
norm,
wellness.
yeah.
People
Right.
don't move. And the
Those
unfortunate
two
part is they
things.
overconsume and then they don't move.
Right.
If you want to eat like, you know, a CrossFitter, I
But
always
I
say,
think
'cause
you can
they're-
even eat this the allotted amount of calories in a day.
Sure.
That it says like somebody, you know, their age or my age or whoever. But if it's the wrong things,
Yeah. If it,
Even
and
though-
food
and
is
it's not just-
designed, it's designed for us to overconsume.
Yeah.
So again, if you're eating the highly processed stuff or high caloric stuff, high sugar stuff,
Yeah.
it's designed. What's the once you pop, you can't stop, right?
Yeah.
But you can't have just one chip.
Right.
Well, no, of course you can't.
right.
But you slice up a potato, and I bet you're not going to eat 6.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So your quality of nutrition too. The
Right.
hardest part is people aren't searching for quality, and
Right.
quality can be boring.
And
you
they don't
know?
want to cook. They want
Yeah,
the
they wanna
convenience.
cook, they
of
want
just being-
convenience,
yep, yep.
right? And
Yep.
so it's hard out there.
It is.
and it's hard to
Financially, it's hard.
It's
Yeah.
that's the other
Yeah.
thing too. Is
It's a
that
lot cheaper and easier and quicker and
Yep.
tastes better a lot of times, or at least our body believes it does. You know,
Yeah.
I know there's some mindset that goes into, you know, if you start eating healthy, you're going to start maybe craving some of that healthier stuff as opposed to, but you can't deny that a cheeseburger and fries tastes delicious, right?
That
Right.
stuff is jam packed
Right.
with sugar too, which I mean has been proven that
Right.
that's very addictive.
Yeah. And I'm, you know, in my profession, I never want anybody to think that they can't live without that fun stuff.
Sure.
But the most important part of my philosophy is you have to find the balance.
Right.
Right. So you have to find the balance of the nutrient dense stuff, the stuff that gives you vitamins and minerals, and the fun stuff. We just have too much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you, in what ways do you coach your clients to that balance, to that, to finding that, like, how do you get there?
Well, you know, it's different for everybody. You know, I have clients that they don't move a whole lot. You know, they sit behind a desk. Maybe they just exercise really isn't their thing, right? Then I have people who are on the other end of the spectrum that they're CrossFit, run miles, and are constantly active. And I almost have to tell these people to sit down in a way, right? So finding the balance for everybody, it's taking the big picture of your day specifically or your day specifically. Everybody's so different, right? So there's I don't like blanket statements in fitness and nutrition because the application is so different for everyone. And so if you were to walk into my office, we'd take this big picture of your day. What do you do for work? Do you work? Do you move? How many steps do you get in a day? And so when I'm setting up a specific style of nutrition or a diet, or, you know, we're counting our macronutrients, which are our proteins, carbs, and fats, or I'm writing a meal plan, there's a certain amount of protein that we need to have that supports how much muscle tissue or lean mass or whatever you have in your body that's different than yours, right? So finding even just what a general nutrition plan should look like is different for everybody. But finding the balance of the nutrient dense stuff and the fun stuff, your body will tell you when you're out of whack, right?
Okay.
I get a lot of people who are, you know, they start my plans and they're almost afraid to have fun and have some of the candies or the chocolates or the ice cream is always a really big one, right? And so my recommendation is always have a little bit. Throw it in your day, because what's going to happen is you're going to fall into a binge restrict cycle if you don't. Right? Talk about my bodybuilding days at their worst. It was, you know, restrict, and then Pandora's box wide open.
Right.
And there's no
I have
stopping.
a bad day and then I just
Sure.
completely binge it out or say, F it,
Yes.
I'm just going to do,
Yep.
you know, I'm going to go
Yep.
all in. But I feel like speaking for myself, there has to be some sort of a shift in mindset to get to what you were just mentioning.
Yeah.
Like right now, if left to my own devices, if like, Jeff, eat healthier, I would go, okay, well, I need to expect I'm going to spend more money. I'm going to enjoy eating less, or I'm not going to enjoy eating as much as I do.
As much as you were.
I'm going to have to work twice as hard because of the inconvenience of having to find the decent non-processed foods and cook them and plan them and all that. What would you say to someone like me walking in that would say, I can't afford it and I don't have the time for it?
The first thing I always talk about is, you know, don't think that it has to look like a complete 180. It really doesn't, right? In fact, I see a lot of teenage clients too, and the last thing I'm going to tell them is to not do something. Don't eat this. Don't do that. Don't. Because what's the quickest way to develop an eating disorder in a teenager? They're going to hear what they want to hear. Well, I can't have that because it will cause me to, gain weight or whatever. And then all of a sudden they have a complex. And this is adults too.
Sure.
I mean, we're all kind of written the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so for someone like you, it's a matter of finding what we can input or put into the diet. So my initial start for everybody needs more protein, to be honest. And again, if this is the game of calories in versus calories out, it could be chicken wings, it could be chicken nuggets, it could be chicken. It's just eat more chicken, right? It doesn't have to be broiled, skinless, boneless, bland, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Is it going to take a little bit more thought from you? Maybe. Right? Because if we want to make food interesting, we need spices, we need recipes, we need something to give it the experience that we're looking for that Chick-fil-A can provide.
Right.
Yeah. And on that point, do you really think it's a lot more expensive to eat nutritionally?
No.
I don't either.
I really don't.
I think that when we don't eat healthy, we're going out more, and that's way more. Convenience foods are much more expensive than fruit.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just, to me, I don't think it's really more expensive.
I really don't either. And sometimes it comes down to just planning. I've planned out my week.
Yeah.
So my grocery bill, it's always that big old number at the end of the checkout.
Yeah.
But I know what we're eating for dinner tonight. I know what I'm prepping for meals tomorrow. I know what my girls are eating. I know, my husband kind of does his own thing, which is cool for me.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's cool.
Do your thing, honey.
But it's when you plan and you can execute, but it's not a heck of a lot more money that I'm just going, well, these chips look good and this looks good, and take chips, for instance. You buy a couple bags of chips, you could see yourself at the bottom of a bag of chips. But again, if you buy a bag of potatoes, which is probably pretty similar in cost, that bag of potatoes is going to last you hopefully a week.
That's true.
The chips will last till while I'm cooking dinner, maybe. Maybe on a weekend.
It's an hors d'oeuvre.
I don't know.
Okay, so as you mentioned your kids and your husband, as a wife, mother, former professional athlete, how do you balance this life with personal life? And I feel like I have an idea of what you're going to say, so I'm curious about this. But is there, I guess take that question however you want. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Or no? Okay.
I truly believe in self-care for me. But self-care for me isn't, doing my nails, and it's not doing, things. It's a little bit, but the balance of putting myself first comes with when am I going to get my workout in through the course of the day, and it's represented the most in the summertime when my alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning to get to the gym by 6 to make sure that I'm taken care of first, right? Because I have to show up and be my best self for everybody else. And so finding the balance of me and my own journey in health and nutrition, because I have one too.
Sure.
I coach them, but I also have one.
Yeah.
It's really a matter of trying to fill my own cup in the different ways that I can. And I coach all of my clients do that too. We're brilliant at, thinking that looking after ourselves and putting ourselves first is such a selfish thing, right? We're always doing for everyone. You have kids, so are the kids taken care of? Is my husband taken care of? Is the house clean? Is this, that, so we'll give from this cup, this empty cup. We'll find a way. We give as much as we can, but me prioritizing my health and my fitness and my whole journey is a matter of filling that cup. So imagine, showing up with a full cup to give to everybody. I'm not sacrificing myself because we'll get it done, whether that cup is full or whether that cup is empty. We'll give that cup away.
And feeling that is different for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's got a
lot of,
different
I hear from a lot of women that they feel like that's selfish, and it breaks my heart really. And it's not I look at it as the most selfless thing that you can do as a woman.
Well, I can remember back though when you guys were little and I was a single mom. That's a hard thing to find, and I know there's a lot of people out there that their day is so full of taking care of everybody else. It really is difficult to find ways
Yeah.
to fill their own cup. So I think that's a challenge.
I also think society's made you feel like it has to look a certain way, right? So in order to have a great workout, it has to be 60 minutes to 90 minutes, and you have to have sweat, and you have to have done this, and nutrition has to look this way. I can't tell you how many times people have left my office and their only goal is to eat 3 times a day. That's it. I just need you to eat breakfast. That's all. Right?
I love that.
That's it. That's all I do. And they're like, that's all, and then they'll come back and say, oh, well, I didn't do this and I didn't do this. And I said, oh,
Tell me what you did.
did we have breakfast?
It's okay.
Okay. Winning.
You did it. Good
You
job.
did it.
So then how do you handle the question or the concern, I guess, of people's lives being too busy?
I think it's a matter of, it's one more thing to think about. And we're all busy. We're all busy. And making yourself a priority for women, we're on the back burner. If we're on the burner at all. If you've got kids, we're not thinking about ourselves, so you can use the excuse of being busy. But again, it doesn't have to look 3 hours a week. If you've got 10 minutes, go for a walk. If you are, and I always tell people, if I'm standing at the stove, I'm making noodles for the girls. I'm doing this over here. I'm prepping this. I'm putting something in the crock pot. So I utilize my time. So in a way, it's being organized and figuring out what that has to look like. So we do a lot of brainstorming in my office too, or simplify everything. You ever been to Costco?
Right.
Costco can be a dream for people who are busy,
Right.
and it's a matter of being prepared in these situations. And if I want you to eat breakfast and you do not want to wake up early, okay, well, let's walk ourselves through Costco, or let's prepare a bunch of food beforehand and figure out how we can at least execute a proper plan to get us closer to our goal.
Right.
It's easy. I mean, we live in a world of easy right now. And everything's accessible that would help you to gain weight, but there's also a lot that's accessible to do the opposite too. You just have to know what to look for.
Yeah. And I would imagine too, and you've sort of already alluded to this, but allowing some compassion for yourself,
huge,
on what your goals are, what you're doing every day, and like you mentioned, it doesn't always have to look a certain way. Which I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question. Do you just guide women?
No,
or do you do
I've
men
got
too?
these
Okay,
cute 70-year-old men right now that are just adorable. I just adore them so much.
Good.
I've got teenagers. I've got athletes. I see so many different people.
That's good.
Predominantly women, yes, because I do think that we need a little bit more support.
And
a little bit more permission.
Maybe a little bit
more permission.
Women might be a little more willing to go look for that too.
Yeah. There's that. Yeah, because my 2 little adorable 70-year-old men, they listen sometimes, but they also, they have their own input too.
Yeah.
But women, I think, like I said, I think we just need that support, and we have a list of stuff. Not that men don't have a whole host of things that they need to do through the course of the day. I always hear, just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. I'll do it. I promise. And I usually say no. I'll help you to understand what will be necessary, but you're going to have to give me some feedback here too. Right. I need you to learn something here. Anybody can follow a 12-step plan or follow a meal plan or do that, but you're not learning anything, which is why it's never going to be, there's no longevity that's there. It's never maintained when you don't learn.
The first thing that comes to my head when you say that though is, and this isn't me arguing against it because I completely agree, but coming from somebody who, myself and my wife, we feel overwhelmed a lot.
Absolutely.
Between our kids and we both have full-time jobs, and just, also knowing that it's a vicious cycle. If you're not being healthy and nutritious, you don't have the same energy that you might have to take care of those things. But then when you don't have that right amount of energy or motivation, then you end up taking the easy way out when it comes to dinner or when it comes to exercise or things like that, where sitting on the couch, laying on the chair, taking a nap, whatever it may be, and ordering food in is a heck of a lot easier at this point than getting up and being active or doing the thing and just feeling overwhelmed. How do we combat that? And maybe this maybe this is, I'm sure this is something that you run into. How do I just get myself to do that?
Well, I think in a situation like that, I think there's a lot of families and couples that share that exact same thought. And maybe it's because you're coming from a place where you think you have to do so much in order to get things to change, right? So my number one recommendation for people that just want to get started, it's like I said, are you eating 3 meals in a day, or do you find yourself snacking, right? And there are some cases where I'm like, I don't even care what you eat. I just need you to eat. Right. I want it to be protein centered. So that might look like, again, you're getting maybe some, I don't know, egg bites or egg cups or something, or making things ahead. Make an egg casserole for breakfast for everybody, for the whole family. You know, I really think that health and fitness and that space of nutrition, it's intentional. You have to think about it.
And maybe you start small.
You start very small.
Where you don't think, okay, all 3 meals have to be something that I put together, but we're just going to do breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm going to have one good breakfast for us all to have this week. And so you make a big casserole or the mini muffins, whatever you call
And you get really good at breakfast.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking. Get
that makes
really good at
sense.
breakfast. But then on top of that, you might want to think about, let's track how many steps you get in a day. Let's see where you are. And then we're going to try to build that up because it's intentional. This is why there's a very small percentage of the population walking around in a body that is fit or, healthy is almost the minority. Well, we are the minority here in this country, but the uber fit, the ones that are really they have it down. That's a very small percentage of our population. And they're the ones, it's a priority from jump. And a lot of people who were in that type of situation that you had described, are you getting enough sleep? Because that'll immediately cause you to not make great decisions for yourselves and for your family. Are you moving? We all know Newton's law of thermodynamics, right? If you're sitting your butt on that couch, you're going to continue to sit your butt on that couch. That was the law, right? Wasn't that it?
I'm pretty sure that's
I think
That's
that was
exactly
it.
how it's
I
written,
think that was
I think.
exactly how it was written.
Right. Yeah.
So it might be a matter of getting uncomfortable.
Sure.
Right? But I don't want you to be so overwhelmingly uncomfortable. Overwhelming makes people quit 10 out of 10 times.
1,000%.
10 out of 10 times. And I'll tell people in my office, I want you to be underwhelmed. I want you to leave here going, that's it?
That's all I have to
Really?
do.
That's all I have
Because
to
what's
do.
going to happen is I'm going to ask you what you did when you come back, and you're not even going to have done that. So,
Sure.
So,
You lie to me. No lying to me.
I even find the planning portion of it overwhelming, though. I'm not a good planner, I feel like, and so even that part. Let me take that back. I can be, but when I hear that those things should or need to, or it would help if they're planned out, and you mentioned going to the store for the week, and I'm like, oof. Oof.
That's why it seems so much more expensive to you too, because $10 here and there throughout the week is not
But
expensive.
even if you
but
can
if
prepare, even if you can plan for tomorrow, you're already thinking a step ahead. I'm not asking you to think on Sunday what dinner on Friday is going to be if your brain is going to get caught up somewhere. Again, everybody's
what if that
different.
doesn't sound good on Friday?
Exactly. There's that too, right?
That's why I
Leftovers
used
again. I used to let my kids. But it's think about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just one measly little step ahead. That's it. Plan your day. It might just mean you need a little bit more structure in the day to figure out where that 10-minute walk belongs. It might mean waking up a little bit earlier. But if you're not sleeping well, even that sounds like it's, it sounds like it's the hardest thing you're going to have to do in a day. But ask yourself what it is that you really want. It's okay to not have a goal in health and wellness. If you want to just live by the seat of your pants, fine, but also don't want to, you can't have a goal to look like a completely different person. So that's, again, something else that we talk about in my office is the goal and the actions need to be in the same book. We can't have two completely separate books here.
You don't have to jump all the way into that category.
No.
But let's, like you said, be in the same book.
Be in the same book. Yeah. Because if you're coming to me, you want to change something.
Yeah. I was thinking that earlier when you said that they wouldn't be here if they didn't want to do something, have something change in their life. They're coming for some good reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're no stranger to a challenging transformation because you've done bodybuilding and you've worked with a lot of clients who have probably been what do you think is the most challenging part of the transition in your world, transitioning helping someone reach their goals, I guess. Let me put it that way. What's the most challenging part that you've
The buy-in, believing that it's not as hard as they've made it over however many years they've been trying. Because that's huge. It's mindset.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I'm not withholding and gatekeeping any of the secrets that it's actually going to take. I'm telling everybody what it is that they need. But it's like I said, I think, you know, everybody loves a rule, right? So when you come into my office and I don't give you a set of 10 to 12 rules that you have to abide by in order to get to your space and health and fitness.
This many pieces of fish per week. Eat this many pieces of chicken
I think
per
people
week.
are more willing to listen if it sounds absolutely terrible, right? But that's
because it sounds like you're really going to get it done.
I'm really going to get it this time.
I'm going to get
all
this
that
done.
fish. I don't even like fish, but I'm really going to get it this time. It doesn't, and again, it doesn't have to look that way. And I think that's what we've been told over time.
Yeah.
And so the most challenging part for someone that walks into my office that wants to transform their life is to forget about the things that they were told by that one chick that one time, you know, or the article that they read on Facebook or whatever.
Right.
You know, rice is bad. My question is always why.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't, like, why? Where'd that come from? Who told you that? I'd love to meet him, you know? And so, but it really,
them.
it's the buy-in and it's believing in what I'm telling you. And that it really, I joke, I probably shouldn't even have a job. It's in a way, sometimes it actually is. It's so much easier than we make it.
You're a coach though.
Yeah, I know.
The coach isn't there to tell people things that they don't necessarily know. It's to help them get past that threshold and help them understand.
Believe in themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's believing in themselves.
Do you see, I'll bet you can, but this is me projecting. Can you see in your clients when that switch flips?
It's my favorite.
Yeah. I'll bet that's,
it's my favorite.
I'll bet that's rewarding. When
It
you go,
really is.
oh, now I get
It's
it.
Yeah. The wheels are turning and they finally started to do the things. I had a client one time. We'd worked together probably 3 different times, right? And she'd come in and what do you think about the 21 whatever, what's that called? The 21-day fasts and the fixes and the things. And what do you think about this? And I'm like, why don't you just track your food? Why don't you just hit your macros? And she's, I don't want to do. What do you think about cutting out carbs? Why don't you just hit your macros?
Carnivore diet.
Fine. What do you think about that? What do you think about every time? And finally, she just decides to do what I tell her to do. Right? And it was funny because in her opinion, she said it was out of spite. She goes, I'm just going to do this and prove to her that it doesn't work because it can't be that easy, right? 70 pounds later, here we are.
Right. She's feeling good.
And I said, so tell me, you know, how hard was it? And she goes, yeah, it really wasn't that easy. It really wasn't that hard.
She's like, I kind of want to flip you off right now.
I probably should have listened to you the whole entire time. But, you know, that's the average person, you know. It's hard to relinquish control when something just doesn't, it sounds too good to be true.
Sure.
You know, because a lot of the foundation of my business and my practice is, like I said, you should be eating mostly nutrient dense foods, but you can have a little fun. And I'll have people leave my office and I'm like, I need you to schedule in 200 calories worth of fun. So you stop because what they're doing is coming in and they're like, I binged again. I you know, these chocolate Easter eggs, dug on it, just got the best of me. And my, you know, number, I'll say, well, why don't you just set 4 out on the counter every single day? Just 4. Track them in your day. Figure out how you can make it fit so that you
for
can,
yourself.
so that you, and understand that you're a human being.
Deprived.
Right.
Right.
We're not going to go through deprivation here. I don't believe in that. I want you to partake and participate, but responsibly.
Yeah.
And if you can figure that part out, you won't have these problems again.
Right. Because clearly, whatever you're getting from that snack, whatever you're, you know, whether it's the flavor, whether it's the, you know,
dopamine hit.
Dopamine, yeah.
It's the dopamine hit every time.
I mean, that dark chocolate. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. Mom, you look like you
So
want to
I
say
do.
something.
Well, I do. And I had Angie give me a little testimonial. I asked her for a little
love it.
testimonial.
She's so fabulous.
And I wanted to encourage you. Well, Angie, I love you dearly, sweetheart. but it was really long. And we don't have time to read it. So I did pull out a portion of it to share with you, and I will email you the whole thing so that you have what she said.
I love that.
But she said the non-scale victories, such as having great blood work results, because she has some health issues, great blood work results, improved sleep, energy, and strength, all point to a healthier lifestyle. I don't really care what the number on the scale says, because my lower body fat and increasing muscle mass is what makes me look lean after all. I'm learning habits that create consistency and teach patience. There have been many months that I have not lost very much weight, none at all, or even gained weight back. But Elicia, oh, we're so sorry.
It's okay.
Has never made me feel ashamed or that I've failed. That was big to me because, that she needs that and we all need that. And it's just a great thing. She teaches me how to troubleshoot and enjoy the process in all of its phases, because the truth is, when I finally reach that desired number or dress size, a new goal will take its place and the journey will continue.
Oh, that's
she said, with
lovely.
Elisa's help, Elicia?
Elicia.
We need to do this phonetically. I am, with her help, I am turning into a fat-burning machine, and I did it all through proper nutrition, weightlifting, and walking. The only other side effects are smaller clothes, brighter skin, and the confidence to know how to maintain health habits for life. Thank you, Elicia.
Close.
Elicia.
And Todd Smith Fitness. Both have been such a worthwhile investment in my health journey. So that's just
wonderful.
Yeah, I thought that you would appreciate
that. Is just so wonderful.
She just has
I love
nothing but good things to say about you all
and
the time.
everything that she said is the honest to God truth. And that's what I try to do for everybody. I just love that she's willing to speak on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was wonderful.
Thanks
Love you, Angie.
Thanks, Angie. What do you do for fun?
Oof, what do I do for fun?
It can't just be work,
She
right?
meal plans.
Let's see.
She preps.
I work out. No, I'm kidding. Now that the weather's getting nice, I'll probably pull out my power tools, put them in the garage. I like to build things. All of a sudden, handful of years ago, decided I wanted to go and just buy a bunch of power tools and start making things.
Okay.
I'm truly my father's daughter, right? In fact, I was just at my parents' house yesterday and my dad's like, look at what I welded. And I'm like, that's awesome.
I want to learn how to do that.
Teach me to weld.
But no, in my house, I've built shelves. I've built, I'm that person that's like, well, that can't be that hard. Right. So I try it. And, sometimes it turns out and other times I quit and move on to something else.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, I love arts and crafts. My kids, they keep me busy, playing.
How old are your kids? Can I ask?
One will be 6 on Wednesday and then the other one's 8.
Wow.
Oh, it's my birthday.
Wednesday?
Yes.
Stop. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Are you also going to be 6 or
I'm going to
no?
be 6.
That's weird.
Yeah. Plus a few more.
Yeah. What's your favorite cheat meal?
My favorite.
Or do you believe in cheat
what's
meals?
funny is I don't like the words cheat meals.
Oh,
so for my
tell me about that.
well, think about it. Cheating, it's just
Not
such
a
a
good thing.
negative connotation. I just don't like the word, and so I'll call it an off-plan meal.
Okay.
For my clients, I'll say just go have don't worry about it, or have the burger and fries. I give them permission to be a human being that just likes a burger and fries.
Yeah.
Right. And so ironically, I'm going to let you down with this one. I'm going to let you down. My favorite off-plan meal or fun meal, my husband, as long as we've been together, Saturday nights, even when we were both bodybuilding, Saturday nights has always been date night, or that was when our meals could occur. And to this day, we order Mediterranean food all the time. So I'm literally eating someone else's chicken and rice.
Yeah.
So you're still eating chicken and
still
rice.
good.
I'm
All
still,
right.
it's delicious. Shout out to Mediterranean Bistro because they
I
are.
love them.
I tell you what,
It's such a good
it
place.
is so good. Now,
is
the
so good.
ice cream that comes after it is also
Off
Part of your off-plan meal.
delicious.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yes.
If you can think of one, I'd like to hear a story or an example of a client whose transformation has particularly impacted you.
This was a big one to think about because I take a little bit from everyone. I love each of my clients dearly, and my 100-pound weight loss stories are some of my favorites. And what I remember most about them is the face that looked at me the first day and the smile that we had as time went on. So, but there's another group of gals that I call them that I work with now currently, and it's a mother and her 2 daughters. And I remember the day that she came into my office, and she showed up because she wanted to change the way that their family did everything. You know, her younger daughter really struggled with anxiety just from some things in life that had happened, and it was pretty bad. Her struggle, and she had weight issues where she was way underweight, and then like most eating disorder clients, they end up experiencing the other end of the spectrum too. So you're underweight, and then a lot of them will go to gaining more weight than they would have liked. Sure. And so that's when I caught her. And so, you know, the mother shows up and she said, you know, I need to get healthier for my family. That stuck with me, especially as a mother now. And I was a mother then too, but that it hit me like, man, you know, I hear that a lot. People want to get healthier for their family, or they need to teach their family the right way to eat, or the way that will benefit them. And the difference between her and everyone else is she did it. And she did it really well. Yeah. And we've been working together for a couple years now. And I joke that I'm an honorary member of the family because I get to see all 3 of them. And, you know, she transformed her entire life. She transformed her as a woman who had kids and who is trying to figure out what her identity needs to be, and maybe forgot who she was. And just to see her empower herself with doing the things that needed to be done and showing her girls that she could do it too. And now she's kind of moved into this phase 2, as I like to call it. So I talked her into lifting weights when she was never a weightlifter. And I love, you know, now getting these photos of her on the gym floor or doing hard things.
Changed a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. And so she's learned that she has this capacity to improve. You know, awesome. We're never too old for that. And you can always pick up where you are and become something more. And, you know, when it comes to her daughter, I watched her transform. She was one that I held close to my heart too. And I watched her, you know, her anxiety was so heavy that she couldn't fly. There were certain things that she could not do because she was so anxious. And, you know, down the road of her journey, I'm getting text messages of her booking flights and all of a sudden like doing things on her own and growing into this woman. And it was just huge for me to see. Now, fast forward even further, right? I'm working with the other daughter. Okay. So like I said, there were 3 of them. Sure. I'm working with the other daughter who brought her own issues that she had too, you know, digestive issues. There were things that were troubling her on a daily basis that we don't even have to talk about anymore because they're gone. Wow. Oh, that's good. She's getting married this year. Oh. And they went wedding dress shopping a couple weeks ago, and I'm getting photos of the wedding dress. Like these girls, I tell you, they're just they've impacted me.
I'm sure they're very grateful.
But just to see how they're just doing it, you know, and she wants to transform her body for this wedding, and I know she's going to do it because I've saw this light click on. Yeah. Just recently, I saw something click, and they just never cease to amaze me. I love them dearly.
Through the things that you've been talking about, do you have training in like counseling or anything like that?
No, self-taught.
Because it sounds like a lot of what you're doing is, I mean, I know it's coaching through nutrition and fitness, but there's a lot of things that come along with that. A lot of things that nutrition and fitness can have an impact on, or a lack of, or a poor nutrition can have an effect on. And I'm sure we've all felt it if we're not feeling it currently. And so it's interesting hearing those things that you go, because I'll bet you those are still some of the same things that my therapist sees every day. Right. You know? Right. And so it's just interesting to me. Yeah. And I think that's really cool.
Eating is psychological. There's so much psychology in food and eating and, you know,
and the relationship that you have with your body and how you deal with stress and all of those things. I mean, that's it. That part of it has become more my passion than I think the fitness and health piece, you know, the gym side is I just want to help people figure out themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so, I mean, people come into my office, we don't even talk about food half the time. So it's the psychology piece behind it is such it's so
sounds
impactful.
Like you get a lot of satisfaction out of your work.
I love it. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. I have
really
the
tell.
coolest job. I get to just come in, sit in my little box of an office and just chat, right?
Yeah.
I just get to talk to people and learn them. And if you're in my office, you're my new bestie immediately. That's the goal that I have I want to get to know you, and I need to understand who you are so that I can communicate better with you. And so that's always something that I pride myself in being able to do, is connect in whatever way that might be. And when I first started this, God, I did not have that ability.
One piece of advice for our listeners who might be either interested in this or feeling like maybe we didn't cover a question with you or something like that, and they're, whether they're hesitant, whether they're not, wherever they're at, what's something that you want to put out to the world?
If I could speak to people out there, I'm on your level. There's zero judgment in my office. I think sometimes when people hire a nutritionist or they hire a personal trainer or somebody in this field, they immediately think that they're going to let me down, or I hold these certain standards. And I got rid of expectations for people a long time ago, if that makes sense, because I'd read that unmet expectations are relationship killers. And I coach people on that too.
I love that so much.
Unmet expectations are relationship killers, and even within yourself. And I find that a lot of people have expectations that they gave themselves that don't even make sense.
I think that's way more common than any of us want to admit. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're all human beings. And believe it or not, we're all a heck of a lot more similar than we are different. I think every one of my clients fights to be my worst case, right? And I'm like, no, I've seen you before.
Yeah.
And I think that, I get people that are like, why? I want you to yell at me. I want you to do this. What is that going to do? Right. For anybody.
You're in the military.
And I'm not, I'm no sergeant over here. I'm not going to yell at you. And you don't disappoint me either.
Right.
I have clients that I've seen for years on end. I mean, 8 years with a nutritionist. You go and tell people that and they're like, why? Because life, our journey is different, and life just gets to life and sometimes we don't know how to handle it. And so I think of myself as an accountability buddy. Say that?
Accountability
10 times fast. There you go. Accountability buddy. Yeah. And I'm going to meet you exactly where you are. And I'm going to get you to a point where you're doing uncomfortable things, but not so uncomfortable that it's overwhelming, because I don't like overwhelming.
Right.
I want you just to step outside of your comfort zone, because everything you've ever wanted is right outside of that comfort zone.
Do you have anything you want to promote or put out there, or?
Yeah, come check me out.
Yeah.
I'll promote myself.
Okay.
I promoted Mediterranean Bistro.
Mediterranean Bistro, we will put the link to that in our showing notes.
But also, come check out our whole corner here. We've got, our gym that is, you walk in here and you see these big guys, and this gym is for all ages, all sizes, all walks of life. We're here, we're your one-stop shop. And if you feel lost, just come over and check us out. Todd Smith Fitness. We've got NutriShot products. We've got our ultimate workout for the 20-somethings that want to move.
Yeah.
I don't do the jumping and stuff like that anymore like I should, but that's what they can do over there. But, and even here with nutrition, like, you come check me out, even if it's just a chit chat, even if it's just a talk. I do free phone consultations. So I get people that just want to, tell me what they're doing, and then I give them advice. I'm an oversharer by nature, so I'm probably going to tell you what to do on the phone for free.
Yeah, come in and mention this podcast, and she'll talk to you for 5 minutes for free. I'm sorry, I'm not putting that out there yet.
Mention my mama done told me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Elicia.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Look at that. It only took an entire show.
I know. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
This has been wonderful and eye-opening. I love doing these because I always learn a lot about what we're talking about. A new respect for it, first of all, and what's the word? Misconceptions. I think there's a lot of them in the fitness world, in the health world, and you've just dispelled a lot of them.
Good.
And I think that it would be really cool to continue thinking about those things. And for anyone that wants to come meet you, I would highly recommend it because
Thank you.
it's that you have such a you have an energy about you that makes it easy to want to believe what you're saying.
Good.
So I think that's really powerful. So
Thank
you're
you for
doing
that.
yeah, absolutely. You're doing a great job, and I appreciate you spending some time with us tonight.
It was fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Your first podcast experience.
Ever.
So
Ever.
Probably won't be the last.
right.
Ever.
Be careful because
Contact me for booking later.
the offers are going to be rolling in.
Let's
as
hope.
this goes- yeah.
Let's hope.
Once this goes live.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Be careful. This has been Headspace by My Mama Done Told Me. If you want to connect with our family, you can send us an email if you want. And Lauren, it's been a while
Mom?
since I've asked you to
What's
say the
the
email address.
My mama done told me podcast@gmail.com.
That's right. And we will have Elicia and all of our social medias and our website. No, not our website. We don't have a website.
I
Ours.
said that.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just trying.
Everybody's
It's been a
everybody's still
while.
wanting to talk about food.
It's late.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I haven't eaten yet. My wife made chicken and gravy
Yeah.
at home. I don't know
Oh,
what kind of
nice.
gravy, but
Are
it's
you gonna
not
have a vegetable? Because I
better
I
have
fight
some-
with adults to have vegetables.
They'll
Like I
probably
fight
be
with my
potato.
6-year-old.
Did you say rice and gravy?
chicken and gravy.
Chicken and gravy.
Yeah.
protein?
Yeah. So anyway, all that stuff will be in our show notes.
Yes, joy notes.
Can you say show notes?
Shoy noits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our show notes.
You said it good.
I assume.
Yeah.
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 Shoy noits.
Joy notes.
Anyway, we hope you keep your minds open and be kind to each other. Until next time, I have been Jeff. That's my sister Lauren.
Hi.
That's my mother.
cat.
Hi. Hi, welcome to the show. And Elicia Briggs,
Beautiful.
plural Briggs, more than one Briggs.
So
More than one.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Red rubber, red rubber, red rubber.
Red rubber,
I'm sorry, what?
red leather, yellow leather, not red rubber, mother.
What kind of podcast is
Now,
this?
now we know what's going post credits.
Where
That's
am
for
I?
Sure.
What is
Who are you
happening right
people?
now?
Get out of my gym.
This one over
It
here.
just got creepy.
I don't know. I thought she was with you. I don't know.
Isn't it something about rubber?
No.
Red
Oh,
leather,
is it rubber
Leather.
baby buggy?
red leather,
Leather.
Red leather.
yellow leather,
Yeah,
Red,
yellow leather.
red rubber, yellow rubber.
red rubber, yellow rubber. Oh,
Oh,
tell our listeners that you love them, please.
what?
We love you.
I love you. We love you. Who are we loving?
We
The
love our
listeners.
listeners.
Oh, we love all of them.
Yeah.
Every last
Will
one.
you tell our listeners that
We
you
love
love them?
everybody.
I love you, listeners.
Thank you. We're just skidamarink dinkies.
Just get skinnamarink.
Skinnamarink around. Skinnamarink dinking around.
Yeah, because at the end he'll probably put
This will
something
put,
crazy.
yeah, when he does it, make sure you watch through the credits to the
All
very
right.
end.
Yeah.
Because they'll
We
put
talk
this kind
about
of stuff in.
skinnamarink dinky.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something.
It'll
Yeah.
probably
Is
just
it going to
be a-
show me doing the dance?
That
Because I'm
wasn't
going to
on
need
it.
that.
Well, now it is. You just did it. Yeah.
The skidamarink dance.
Skidamarink.
Gosh.
The skidam.